For more chat about geek entertainment, answers to your questions, and news from the wider world of Christian geekery, get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services. Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Invincible on Amazon Prime, episodes 1, 2, and 3? Anyway, stick around and find out. Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Play Productions. This is my uncut review of Invincible on Amazon Prime, talking about episodes 1, 2, and 3 anyway. The synopsis on IMDb reads, an adult animated series based on the Skybound/Image comic about a teenager whose father is the most powerful superhero on the planet. And the description for episode 1 reads, when Mark Grayson finally inherits powers from his superhero father, it's a dream come true. But there's more to being a hero than just choosing a name and costume. And I think that's kind of what a lot of the series, so far at least, is meant to be about, is exploring kind of some of the potentially gritty realities of being a superhero, but with a humorous tone throughout, even amidst the grittiness. In fact, it very much reminds me of like an animated version of the Kick-Ass movies. So if that would interest you, and maybe you don't need to hear any more and you'd be interested in checking this one out. As far as how the basic feel of this thing, the script, story, pacing, tone, it starts with a very kind of quiet moment between two characters that are seemingly random. Maybe later in the series we'll come back to them. We come back to one of them briefly at the beginning of the second episode, but just seems to be these random security guards. This guy's talking about his strained relationship with his stepson, with his security guard coworker, and I was surprised. It was such a... it seemed at the time to be an indicator of like, this is what this kind of this is what this show is going to be about. We're going to explore these kind of like real life relational themes, familial themes, and the first episode actually was about that quite a bit, exploring the relationship between Omni-Man and his son, who's just recently come into his own superpowers. Now there is plenty of I was going to say superhero action. I'll say superpowered action, depending on your definition of hero. The heroes in this universe might disappoint you a bit, but there's lots of people in costumes fighting other people in costumes, and it's but mixed in that first episode with these nice, quiet father-son, parent-child type drama scenes. You know, we've got this teenage boy who really loves his dad, who really wants to be like his dad. It's a really nice relationship between the two of them, and we've got this dad who's trying to prepare his young adult son to become an adult and to be independent and to make wise choices in life, you know. And so there's just some neat things going on there, but the focus shifts dramatically away from this theme and this setup, this premise, after the end of the first episode. There's still a lot of super action going on, but it's much more about teen relationship drama. Specifically, the main teenage boy is trying to choose between two girls, you know, just like, and it really shallow relationship issues. I'm just like, oh, yawn, you know, and kick-ass style comedy combining, you know, humor with ultra-violent / gory super action. That's really what it becomes in episodes 2 and 3. There's humor throughout that did get a few chuckles from me, usually from the dark and shocking moments where they're going for humor. That tends to tickle my funny bone a little bit more than wisecracking and stuff. I was really let down, though, I got to say, by the switch in tone and focus after that first episode. It felt a little bit like a bait and switch. What else is also interesting? Oh, first off, I should have said first off, I haven't read the comic that this is based on, and so I'm just reacting to this as someone who is a comic book fan, is a superhero fan, but has just seen this and has not read the comic it's based on in particular. But speaking of comics, this takes place in a superhero world that is strongly inspired by characters from the DC universe. In fact, I think every single character, a superhero character at least, that is featured in this story, and there's a lot of them that get at least a little bit of screen time, I could say, oh yeah, they're riffing on Robot Man, they're riffing on Martian Manhunter, they're riffing on Wonder Woman, or whatever, and it was the ties to those characters as spoofs or knockoffs or whatever is so strong. It was actually kind of distracting, and it wasn't. I didn't find it funny, in the same way that, say, the old Tick animated series had knockoffs of established superheroes, but they went in a really bizarre direction that actually was funny. These are just like knockoffs that don't seem to be spoofing them. It was a weird point of distraction for me. As far as the cast goes, this is a star-filled cast of actors doing all the voices, but not stand out in terms of the acting quality at the end of the day. It all started with me kind of noticing, oh yeah, I recognize this voice maybe a little bit. I wonder who's in this scene. And with each scene, as there would be new characters that would come along, I would just kind of pause it so the casting info would pop up, and I'd look and say, oh, really, it's that person. Oh, really, it's that person. But I don't think that using all these stars translated to like this really exceptional quality in the voice acting. Thankfully, though, it's not at all like anime-style voice acting, which in animation I don't take for granted. I am grateful for that. As far as the basic visual quality of this thing, it's an animation quality that, for my tastes, I think I'd say is a step down from the DC animated movies, closer to the quality of weekly cell animation in a TV show. It leans on bloody brutality in its visuals, starting with the end of the first episode and moving forward from there. Solid animation. I really don't have any complaints, but I would have preferred something that just felt more premium in its quality. Now, as far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? Well, not after the first episode for me. I think the first episode really has some nice parent-child dynamics, healthy relationships between parents and children that really just got me thinking about my own boys and the kind of dad I want to be to them, especially as they get older, to the age that this teenage character is in, and preparing them for independent adulthood and stuff. And so there's just some neat things there going on that thematically I would have loved to see them explore in a prolonged way throughout the rest of the series, but it seems very clear that they are not going to do that remotely. And unfortunately, with both the second and third episode leaning into shallow teenage relationship drama, it looks like maybe that is where they're settling in terms of the themes and the things that are going to be creating drama in the story. So I feel like it's a big missed opportunity, both dramatically and thematically, to abandon those themes of parent-child relationships after the first episode. There may be more long-term themes that are intended. It's hard to say for now, but I see some pieces being set up that would potentially explore certain themes, but it's too early to tell just 3 episodes in. All right, I have no idea what your tastes are in television or animation, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, wait for now. The first episode, you're really going to like, you're really going to connect with it, but it really goes downhill for what you want and what you expect based on that first episode, starting with episode 2 and into 3 as well. There's only 3 episodes being released at the time that this series is launching on Amazon Prime, and there's nowhere near a resolution happening by the end of the 3rd episode of the big mystery that's established at the end of the first episode. The episodes will resume publishing and releasing weekly starting April 2nd for a total of 8 episodes in this season. So wait until the whole season's out. You guys keep Amazon Prime year-round anyway, so and then watch episodes 2 through 8 maybe like on a second screen while you're playing a grindy video game or something that you don't need to. You don't need to give your full attention to this thing, but you'll want to be able to put down whatever you're playing with or dinking around with to give it your full attention now and then. It's a mixed experience. It has some potential, but it does quickly become something very different from what that first episode presents. All right, this one is rated TV 18 plus by Amazon Prime for language, violence, and sexual material. All right, those are my thoughts. Would love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. Anything you want to do to share this content, help other people find it that might be interested, I would really be grateful for. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making so many of my reviews possible. You can get info about the benefits of joining over at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Then, I hope you'll join us soon over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. The Christian Geek Central podcast is the longest-running podcast for Christian geeks with over 600 weekly episodes and counting, featuring audio versions of much of the same content you'll find here, plus exclusive content including weekly news updates from the creators of Christian comics, novels, and video games, debriefing and commentary about what I've been playing, reading, and watching, and my expanded responses to your comments and questions via YouTube, email, or the Christian Geek Central forums. And now, with timestamps, so you can jump straight to the segments you want to hear most. Get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services, and enjoy one more way you can geek out and seek the truth.